If you are a speaker, if you're a presenter, if you're a teacher, you need to keep on learning and keep on practicing. I've now been a member of Toastmasters International for coming up to 50 years. Early next year, I'll have been in Toastmasters 50 years. And I never stop learning. I advise you to do the same. Of course, way back in the 1980s, I used to listen to audio tapes of some of the best speakers of that time. The internet had not yet arrived. But when the internet did arrive, from 2013 onwards, I watched the best on YouTube. I advise you to do the same. There's theory and there's practice. A lot of the theory can be gained by watching the best, watching them on YouTube. Watch them, take notes, have a notebook, take down the salient points. That's what I've been doing now for a long time. I picked up this notebook this morning. It's one of several that I have. And I turned to a page at random, as I often do for an idea with these talking head videos, and came across a person called Dr. James Whitaker and his keynote speech, of which I'd taken notes back in 2015, again in 17, and again in 19. Here's what he says. Here's the notes that I took down. To stand out, you need to be an expert in something. To stand out, you need to be an expert in something. The first ingredient to creativity is that of expertise. Then he goes on, ingredients. Ingredient 1, get really good at something. And I'm not just talking about public speaking here. Have some particular knowledge, area of expertise in which you can use your skills as a speaker, presenter, influencer, persuader. Next, get into a creativity routine or habit. I have this. I meditate every day, twice a day, in fact. And I also make these videos. This is creativity. Writing stuff, keeping notes, being creative. And then he says, I review everything I did the day before, and then I write new stuff. What I do is if I've made a video, even if it's a couple of weeks before, I play it back again. I've already played it back once to see it's worth placing. Later on, I play it back again, and if I still think it's good enough, I place it on one of these sites for people like you to see. Identify your center, it says. Identify your distractions and identify your inspiration. And then I've got my spot is my study. Meditate on now. It turns off verbal thought. If you want to be really creative, you need to be able to live in silence. Go into the silence often. And how do you do it? Focus on what the next thought will be coming up. Wait for it to come up. And in that moment of waiting, your mind is silent. It is from here, from this silence, that creativity comes. So to reiterate what I've said before, theory and practice. Practice as much as you can. I do this with these talking head videos as well as my presentations in the various Toastmaster clubs I belong to and speaking to groups outside of Toastmasters. Practice, practice, practice. But watch the best. You'll always pick up ideas from them. You'll be inspired by them and you will grow by watching them. Practice and theory and practice. Keep learning in both areas.